Another Q&A today on the bench press series. So the first one comes from from Daniel Saber. And I apologize, I did not get down anybody else's name here on accident, but I just printed these off here. So what Daniel said is, when you program in the close grip bench press, what is your motivation for it? Would love to hear your take on it specifically. Okay, so the close grip bench press would be three separate things. So I like you guys send these questions in here too, because I don't take notes down or anything. Just print them off real quick, come in here and just go off the top of my head. So there's no scripted answers. Just a close grip bench press would be three different things here. Number one would be it's a great bang for your buck exercise to smash your triceps. It's just one of the best. Gonna help your bench press lockout, all that stuff. With the close grip bench press, I don't like it too close. I like it about not old school bodybuilding. I like it about 2 to 3 inches closer than your normal grip, so you can still use a lot of weight there. So that would be the first reason. Great bang for your buck tricep exercise, hammers the lockout of your bench press. Next, it could be, to protect somebody's shoulders, because there's a number of studies showing that the closer your grip is, the safer, that shoulder width grips can be a lot safer on your shoulders. So for instance, if you are going for a world record, obviously, and you can go wider to get the world record easier, that's a good case for it. I'm willing to take the risk because I'll set a world record. Obviously, anything totally safe is going to be totally useless. So that in that instance, that would make sense there. If it's like, the same, like I can bench press, 300 close grip, 300 with a wider grip, I would go with the close grip. So, and then if you're not sure where to put your hands, you can always get down to that push-up position. Wherever your hands are when you do push-up naturally is a good place for starting out. I have another video on that. The other one would be just to, add a little variety so you're not, do overuse, that kind of thing, even just getting stale there. So those would be the three primary reasons. Next question, when is episode number 3 coming out? Well, I'm not a professional YouTuber. If it's all me doing this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get me flipping on my iPhone in the kitchen right here and talking about things. So I'm waiting on the man making it. So hopefully it'll be here tomorrow, but I cannot promise you that. Okay, next question. Where do I post to ask a question for your next Q&A? So let's go all the Q&A questions onto this one. So then the next one I do next week, I'll just look down there, hit copy, hit paste, look at them, answer your questions. Thank you. So next one, hey Josh, how long and what type of deload do you do after completing the 8x8 program and moving to the peaking program? So what he's referring to is, if you don't know it already, our 8x8 off-season powerlifting program. That's a perfect setup for when we give you this bench press program here. The 8x8 is the perfect setup. If you can't just go heavy all the time and expect to make gains. So the off-season powerlifting program potentiates those gains. So if you do the 8x8 powerlifting program, I'll put a link to that book at the bottom of this video so you can see what I'm talking about. If you do that, I would just go with the deload week that is programmed in there. I wouldn't change anything, do exactly like it says. And after that week, you could go straight into a peaking program after. So do the whole program, deload as it says in the book, go into a peaking program, you're good to go. Okay. Hey Josh, huge fan. Any advice for long arms? I'm 6'5" with a 7'6" wingspan. That's a very wide wing. Struggling to get past the 315 max. I'm really struggling to load the tris. I would say maybe get into boxing. You have a nasty jab that tall, that long arms. But if you want to stick with bench pressing, you're good. Okay, so what we're gonna do here right here is, first and foremost, what you're gonna have to do is a few things. You're gonna have to build yourself to bench press. You need to build a big back and a big chest. The beautiful thing about your situation, okay, if you have alligator arms in the deadlift, short of like some kind of bizarre surgical procedure I'm unaware of, there's not a whole lot you can do there. The only thing you can do, if you had a big belly in a deadlift and you couldn't get down, you could lose your belly and get down to a little bit better. But in your case, you can actually build yourself to bench. Think about it. If your chest, sticks out to here, you're not gonna move the bars if it's right here. And if it's half that distance, you're moving a lot further. So you can actually build yourself to bench. So muscle hypertrophy in this instance is gonna be extremely important. Next, you wanna make sure you're very good off your chest, because there's a couple fold thing here. The only advantage a tall man has in the bench press, or tall woman, is a longer eccentric phase. You think about it, you load that eccentric, it's that elastic-like energy, boom, 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 boom. So you're coming from way up here, it's gonna have a way more of a load than if your arms were this long right here. So that's the advantage you have. So you need to really make sure two different ways to work that. You want to work your elastic or reactive strength, so you're really explosive off of your chest. So that's really making sure, you can do like some plyometric and speed bench pressing there. And then you can do like your dead stop bench pressing too, like your spoto press, but you have to make sure that, your dead bench presses. And when you do a dead bench press, working that bottom end strength, is you need to go a little further off your chest. So saying, normally you advocate like about 1 inch off your chest. You're gonna be more like, in your case, about 3.5, 4 inches off your chest, because the one thing you have is that elastic like energy should, if assuming your technique's okay, should at least push it to there. So that's where you need to go from there. So you need to work that, and then you need to work your triceps hard to get the lockout, because it's a long way up. So you may need to identify your sticking point. And if you have a prevalent sticking point, I hate saying that, because a lot of times when you say a prevalent sticking point, that means you're programming somebody's mind to make a sticking point, because I promise you, the most accurate prophecies in today's world are the self-fulfilling ones. So if you tell yourself you have a sticking point right there, you're gonna have a sticking point right there. But saying you're not playing head games with yourself, I think you need to really, if there is a sticking point that keeps manifesting, you need to find it, you need to hit that, you need to hammer it with some isometric bench presses, which we have videos on here. And if it still didn't make sense to you, get my book, Bench Press of Science. You can watch it for free here on YouTube. But if you want like a really in-depth analysis of isometrics, go on, get my book, Bench Press of Science, and there's a whole chapter on specifically isometrics and sticking point there. But mainly for you, you're gonna need to build yourself to bench, build your power off of the bottom, because that's the one thing you have. So you need to really, make sure you utilize that. And you're not gonna, let's just say one more thing. You also don't wanna let that bar you need to stay tight at the bottom of the lift, because if that bar's bobbling, technically, if you're doing powerlifting, if you're just in, touch and go gym bench, it's a different story. But if you're doing powerlifting, if that bar is bobbling at the bottom of the bench press, technically a referee is not supposed to give you a press command. So any referee that gives you a press command, they're actually not going by the rules. So that a lot of times they won't. So you'll just see that bar, it's paused, but it's not motionless. Motionless means the bar's not moving at all. It's not, so you can be pausing on your chest, if it's bobbling, not motionless, and they will not give you a call there. And the one thing you have, your advantage, is that greater elasticity, that longer stretch reflex. So if you're pausing, after 1 second pause, about 55% of that energy dissipates. So if it's bobbling longer than that, you're up crap creek without a paddle, my friend, so be careful. Okay, how to deal with the last inches of descent in the bench. I seem to dump the bar and really can't coil the pistons like Kazmaier says, where they control descent. So what you're gonna need to do is, I imagine you're going too fast, so what you're gonna have to do is practice a descent speed. You may have to go what feels like seemingly too slow at first. And as you get used to that, you can start to speed it up, because it doesn't matter what the optimal speed is for most people. If you're just crashing down at the bottom, especially if it's a powerlifting, if it's one thing, if you could bounce it off your chest in the gym, that wouldn't be the best way to go about things. That's a whole different story. But if you're actually to pause the bench at the bottom, you need to practice at a speed that allows you to get there. You also need to make sure you really build up your upper back strength and you keep tight there as you go down. And even do some exercises like, reverse band bench pull downs. And, if it's still a problem, you could also, even if you have weight releasers, start working with some weight releasers. Okay, Josh, is it common for a mesomorph fast twitch body type to grow from super low volume heavyweight reps as explosive as possible? Yes, basically there's a little more to that, but saying this is his current situation, that's what he's observed. Absolutely. Fast gainers do not need as much volume, so basically the faster, most mesomorphs, let me backtrack there. Most mesomorphs are fast gainers, okay? If you are a fast gainer, you will not need as much volume as if you're a slow gainer, because you are much more neurologically efficient, so you can get more out of less. If you are a slow gainer, more slow twitch muscle fibers, like the classic example I use, football coach, comes into the weight room, there's a chalkboard there, he circles 85%, 5 times 5, that's what we're gonna do, on squats today. Okay, doesn't sound too hokey yet, but you think about it, okay, if you're a fast gainer, you might only be able to do like 2 or 3 reps at 85%. So you're not gonna get 1 set there, let alone 5. If you're a slow gainer, you might be getting 12, 15 reps there at 85%. So 5 sets of 5 wouldn't even begin to, cause the necessary fatigue, to get the adaptations you want. So it's going to be a case by case basis, of what type of gainer you. So you are a fast gainer, so that does make perfect sense. Okay, and that's what you got to keep in mind. The more, so there's another question about volume here. So basically, what that could summarize in that question too. The more volume you need if you are more of a slow gainer, the less volume you need if you're more of a fast gainer. Okay, Josh, do you coach dead bench or pin press to be used before or after flat bench work? Okay, so I'm assuming this is like a powerlifting context here. I would definitely say, if it's your primary bench press day, the dead bench press needs to be after the regular bench press. Remember, there is a principle of specificity. These special exercises are extremely important and helpful. Both these special exercises, supplementary exercises as well as the single joint exercises are both important, but nothing is going to take the place of the bench press. The steak and potato, the steak dinner, you got the steak, the potato, and the Caesar salad. It just ain't a steak dinner if it's a potato and a Caesar salad. So you have to focus on the bench press first, okay? And if it's on a secondary day, then you could get away with starting with a dead bench press first, okay? Hey Josh, what is your opinion on the slingshot? I like the slingshot for a number of reasons. Not only for bench pressing overloads, and close grip and tricep work, it can even be used for dips. So I like that, for getting more volume in on those lifts, for protecting your shoulders, and just for an overload on both bench press and on both dips. Great piece of equipment, and I really like the slingshot. Appreciate everybody watching, and remember, so next time we do a Q&A, just post those questions at the bottom of this video. Thanks.